Tamsanga Malinga, political analyst. Good morning.
Good morning, Kea, and good morning to all the listeners out there.
Thank you so much for taking the time to speak to us this morning. Let's start off with the legislature's claims in terms of they believing that the watchdog has been doing its role effectively. What do you believe in that? Because obviously we see something else 100%.
I think they just far off the mark in terms of
Yeah.
their claims. They are far off the mark in terms of the claims. They haven't been over there. There haven't been any monitoring and evaluation visits to most of the government institutions, even post their life as a Dimeni, they've been shining in their absence in terms of let's go out there and have oversight visits. So they just far off their mark in terms of that claim. Even if when you look at the guidelines, I think it's guideline number 3.1.7 of the Department of Planning, Monitoring and Evaluation, which empowers the Premier's office to also take the lead in that. The Premier's office has also been shining in its absence to also guide the legislature to say, we need to be championing the cause of us going out there and making sure that there are oversight visits, and also making sure that we get reports, we measure these institutions, and make sure that there is there's proper service delivery as demanded by the annual performance plans and other documents that have been set up by Treasury and other government departments. So the legislature is just shining in its absence in terms of monitoring and evaluation.
So accountability is something that we've been basically it's been the first word on our lips as South Africans, right? But what does this tell us about the state of accountability specifically within Gauteng's public institution?
Well, in terms of accountability with institutions in Gauteng, what it tells us is that there is the issue of cadre deployment. Has taken its roots. This is where it's at its strongest for me.
Yeah.
When you talk Gauteng, the issue of cadre deployment, this is where it's strongest, to such an extent that it makes accountability one of the weakest issues, one of the weakest things that one can look at. We wouldn't be, most of the institutions that we have in Gauteng wouldn't be at the state that they are in had it not been the issue of cadre deployment. So you look at how the Gauteng is comprised of leadership from the ANC level, from the PEC to the REC, and then it cascades to the local structures. And then you look at public institutions, you can just simply dovetail the leadership from the ANC and the leadership in public institutions. So then that kills the accountability, because then the guys that you see on the left-hand side in public institutions are the guys that you will see on the right-hand column in terms of ANC structures. So, who accounts to who, because they are the very same guys that sit on ANC structures, and then they don't account to anyone. They law unto themselves.
Yeah, and we saw that quite a bit with the Tembisa Hospital Syndicate revealed in terms of the operating system and what it said about its internal controls, and of course its leadership failures as well. And talking about another leader, excuse me, Outer's Wayne Duvenage, he did say that greed has blinded politicians' conscience. Would you agree with that statement in terms of personal and party interests, and have they overtaken public duty as a whole?
Yeah, avarice is one of the biggest mishaps in terms of our democracy in the
Yeah.
past 31 years. Yeah, avarice is one of the biggest mishaps, to an extent that, there is no conscious from those who are at leadership level. They would still, even from a child in an incubator. I mean, for heaven's sake, I think they would even steal the incubator itself and take out the premature babies and go and sell the incubator. So there, Duvenacher is quite right when you say that greed is one of the biggest things that have taken place in our system, as political system and governance system. So if you look at it, how can one steal 2 billion rand from the same hospital? Honestly, so the hospital itself, that 2 billion rand, I don't think it's its annual budget. Probably that would have been budget over 2 years, and they would have then just said, whatever comes every year, we are part of that budget. So it tells you that just those people who are just too greedy to just say, well, let's not do it this year. I mean, we've done a lot last year. Let's just give it a break, and then we'll see whenever the budget increases. And then, no, they were just saying every year when the budget comes, we are part of that budget. And they did not even have a ceiling to say, we're going to steal up until this far.
Yeah.
They were just going for it, no matter what. They were just going for it. So, yeah, it's just great.
A pure form of dysfunctional corruption as a whole. From your perspective, in terms of lessons the Gauteng legislature can take from these scandals, what can they do to rebuild public trust, but also just hold themselves accountable as well, and hold themselves accountable publicly?
I think from a form of regaining public trust, what they need to do, they need to hold open, discussions that are open to the public. For example, they need to have the legislature is in Tembisa, or the legislature is in Germiston, where the management of Egoruleni would be answering questions and on terms of their finances, So their form of monitoring and evaluation or site visits should be open to the public as well, more like a commission sort of, but it should not be a form of where the public gets to interrogate. But when they interrogate senior management, the public should also be allowed to come and listen in on those. It should not be one of those media spectacles where they haul in journalists and say, oh, we were here to do monitoring and evaluation. We're looking at the painted walls. We're looking at ceilings. No, it should be at the point of saying we're interrogating the financials. More like when institutions are appearing at the parliament monitoring group. So the Gauteng legislature needs to come up with such a structure. So where institutions come and report and explain what happens within their systems, where are their failures, where are their bottlenecks, where is money spent, and those should be open to the public, number one. And number two, they should also, try to have engagements with the public, where is the public experiencing its bottlenecks with institutions. And because if you look at some of the funding institutions, people have been applying and not getting funding. And a legislature needs to know where are those bottlenecks.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. Tammy, thank you so much for your time this morning. How can we keep up with you once again?
Let's keep up. First, let's stay in touch here on Power Up every day between 3 and 5 and 6 a.m. Hashtag Power Up. My handle is Dawn of Power Up. That is at Tammy25. Or you can get in touch on any of the social media platforms, Tamsanga Malinga, or as I said, on X at Tammy25. And by the way, Pastor Tace, I know you asked me about those economic 10 points. I haven't forgotten. I'll respond to that.
Thank you so much for your time and have a great week ahead.
Thank you. Same to you, man. Bye.
Thank you. Tamsanga Malinga, political analyst, breaking down the Gauteng Legislature and, of course, their oversights in what has happened over the last 10 years, looking at Life Estimeni tragedy and, of course, the Tembisa Hospital corruption scandal and how it's unfolded under its watch. Let's do this again tomorrow on a Bimbering Tuesday. Get those vocal cords ready. Yes, get them vocal cords ready. Coming back with all these feel-good vibes between 3 and 6 a.m. only on Power Up. TT and the team coming through to keep you company up until 9 a.m. only on Power 90, only on Power Breakfast. But Kea Ncube is the name. Do make sure that you keep yourself and others safe, whatever that means to you. And while you're doing that and waiting for Power Up, to remember, be good, sexy, awesome, but most importantly, the best you that you can be. And here's Nyakalo.